I do not believe that there is a Democratic, Republican, Independent, working families, or conservative way to be a town court judge. There is a right way and a wrong way. Since 2007, I believe I've done it the right way. This year I am again seeking your support and your vote so that I may continue to serve you and work for justice in the town of Clarkstown. Thank you.
From a previous presentation by the judge, I know that we cannot, we cannot ask him about specific judicial issues. All right. So that does sort of limit what you can ask the man, but he's open to whatever questions are in a permissible vein. Yes.
Sure.
If the judge has to run for election, they have to raise money. To raise money, certain people give them money. How does the judge stay honest to their bench when the people they see might be the people that give them money?
They might be, and that's why one of the rules that judges are supposed to try, and sometimes it doesn't necessarily work all the time, but judges are not supposed to know who gave them money. So if somebody in the room is a personal friend of mine and they know they gave me money, that's one thing. But they're probably not going to appear in front of me anyway because I'm going to recuse myself. If there's a case where you know one of the parties, and quite frankly in a small town, and Clarkstown is a small town, you can't help but know people who come in front of you. So what I've done on numerous occasions is I tell both sides, listen, the person who has a case, the defendant or the plaintiff or on a criminal case, either of the parties as well. I grew up with that person. I can't hear the case. I'm not going to hear the case. The test is, according to state law, up to the judge to decide whether to recuse themselves or not. But if it turns out later on that you really should have, then the case could be reversed. So why do it? I've had cases where friends of mine have come in on one side or the other, and it's not necessarily criminal cases, landlord-tenant, small claims cases. What I usually do on most of my cases is people come in, I say, first thing, go back out in the hall, try and work it out. If you can work it out amongst yourselves, you'll probably be happier than if I have to work it out. If I have to work it out, we have to have a trial. There are, even in small claims court, there are certain rules of evidence and procedure that have to be followed. But at the end of the day, half the people who come in front of me say I made the wrong decision. The other half may be happy with me, and in fact it may not be 50-50. Sometimes both parties go home a little unhappy, which means I probably did a better job. But right up front I tell them, that person, I eat at the restaurant, or I have business dealings in some other way. You can't help but avoid that. Some cases you recuse yourself. I try not to do it often because people come to court, they want to have their day in court. I leave it up to the parties. I'm friends with him, I'm not friends with you. If you want me off the case, I'm off the case. Sometimes I don't leave it up to the other side. I'm friends with him, I'm off the case. That's what I have to do as a judge to make sure that justice occurs. But if the two of you can work it out, and we're just going to make a record of what you agree to, that's fine. Then you're done, work it out, you make a record. If there's a problem down the line, and you have to come back for enforcement of that agreement, we'll send you to another judge. Sometimes all four judges know the parties, or the case involves one of the judges. We get off the case. One of the things that was said earlier about having meetings with constituents, most people really don't want to have a meeting with the judge on a monthly or otherwise basis. But I do go to civic associations, talk about in general what we're doing in the courts, the procedures that we follow, things like that. I do go to the schools. I help my daughter's mock trial team, but I help other children's teams as well. And I tell you, watching the second graders do a mock trial in my courtroom, nothing beats that. But I'm open for those discussions, but I can't tell you how I feel about a particular issue. I'm in favor of crime or I'm against crime. Well, I guess I can't sit on a criminal case then. So that's kind of limits what the judges can say. You have to know about me, my background, get to know me. Am I going to make a just decision based on my resume? It's really what it comes down to. And the resume is experience. And my experience is spending almost my entire career in a courtroom.
Yes, ma'am.
I believe a few weeks ago you indicated that one of the things to differentiate you was the fact that you're always there. You're always available, forcing a lot of work on you. I guess your opponent, he's probably going to be absent a lot of times. This is the second time that he
Well,
not been able to attend?
we have busy schedules. I think it's important because you can't read about me from a resume and really get to feel what I'm going to be like in the courtroom. We have numerous events to go to, so I'm not going to say that he's going to be absent from court. There's a lot of time you have to put in court. But what happened at the last meeting I think you're talking about, one of the judges became unavailable. I'm available. I went and filled in. I was able to resolve 3 cases that night. So I try and do that when I can. I've been a volunteer firefighter longer than I've been a lawyer. I get up in the middle of the night on the spur of the moment and run into somebody's house. Most of the time, there's nothing major going on. People change their batteries in their smoke detectors at 4 o'clock in the morning. Why they do that, I don't know. But I get up and I go and do that. So going to court and spending time there, I know what it's like to be on the other side. I'm a lawyer who appears in front of many judges. As I said earlier, I didn't grow up wanting to be a judge. At some point, based on the amount of arguing I did with my parents, I realized I should probably be a lawyer. But appearing in front of judges all the time, I know that I can do at least as good a job as some of the judges I've appeared in front of, and I'd like to do as good a job as some of the other judges I appear in front of. But the people who come on a daily basis to court, they want justice. I try the best I can to do it as often as I can. And most days it's fun. There are tough cases, but most days they pay you because it's work, and I know everybody's concerned about money here, and I'm concerned about money too. It's a job. And some days are really tough, but some days I don't mind staying all hours. The lawyers in front of me sometimes don't want to stay that late, but we try and get something done, and that's the important thing.
Thank you.
There was another question? I babbled enough.
Thank you very much.